everyone. Welcome back to the Iconis podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Barry 3D, for Deep Dark Delicious. Hey, over 100 episodes. We're still rocking it as we normally do. On my side, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, the one that's going to be DJing all night long. And of course, during the day too, because if you were at Caravana, you would have seen him. You would have seen him and you should have said hi. Who am I talking about? The one and only
DJ Rod C. Good day, good afternoon, good morning to everyone. Welcome to another episode of Iconis.
Like this.
Let's go.
Let's go. So we got to do the round table, and this time I promise I want to get it right. I know I do mess up at sometimes, and after this many episodes, you got to have it right. So first and foremost, you got to go and support the book, support the comic book stores, and all those people that are there working. So if you're looking for a comic book and you're out here in Ontario, head over to Kitchener to Wow Comics. Tell Wes, Ramon, Sydney, and Chris that we said hi from the Iconis podcast. They will take care of you like they take care of us. That is awesome. And for our friends out in Montreal, please go over to Check Swings on the South Shore. You take the new REM system, the new train they got going out there. Woo, woo, woo. And you can go and see them over at Check Swings at the South Shore and tell Trevor, Dom, Pierre, and Pierre that we said hi. They're great supporters of the show. We really love it. And, if you have a comic book store that you guys like, let us know. It doesn't matter where it is. We want to see, that's what I want to see. I want to see pictures of your favorite comic book store from around the world. All right. Send them over. Check out our YouTube page. They, tag us in it on the Iconis podcast. Let us see it. And let's go from there. What's your favorite comic book store that treats you right? Support the books. All right. 2. If you want to catch me doing some live comedy, then it's very simple. You need to know where I'm going to be. And the best place to check is barry3d.com. That's my website. And look under the touring part of that page. You'll see where I'm going to be. Next and foremost, I post all my events there. And sometimes I do private events too. So you'll hear about them. Come on, check it out. Everything is there, including this show and everything we talk about. Awesome. Also, when I do comedy, sometimes I'm not solo. I'm with my comedy brothers, and that is Dave Sokolowski, my man, Zolf Ali, my homeboy, and we are A Touch of Gray Matter. We're a bunch of fathers doing comedy all over, and we do fundraisers, private events, and just your regular old comedy show. So if you need us, hire us, and if you want to see us, keep an eye on my page. There we go. Then, the other person that supports us a lot is our friend Brandy Ford, the creator of Writer in the Wit. You can also find her at 4680 QAM. So that's a 4680q.com. That's the radio station she does. And she has a show that she does multiple times a week called Off the Topic with Brandy Ford. Give it a listen. Check out the Writer in Wit. Link down below. Okay, this brings us to our man. The one that makes us look so pretty, because we, on being on YouTube, on top of that, we also do a podcast. This is a podcast. So for those who are watching, you can also listen to it wherever you get your podcasts from. Every Tuesday, the videos come out on YouTube, and then the day after on Wednesday, they drop on wherever you get your podcast from Spotify to iTunes, wherever. And we use the hosting of Podbean. So if you want to find us directly there, that's iconis.podbean.com, and you'll see all our past episodes. So let us know, like, subscribe, share, rate, and review. Very important for us. It keeps the channel growing. And of course, if you're starting something along that line, you're going to need a logo. You need some templates. You're going to need merch. Don't forget, we got a Redbubble store. So if you want to go and check out our merch and our Patreon page, please check those out. Help support the channel. Even a one-time tip helps the channel grow. But there's one man that kind of puts all that together for us. And we have to say thank you to the one and only
Jaybird Digital Art.
Jaybird Digital Arts. He's the one that'll hook you up with all your graphic needs. You cannot go wrong with Jaybird. And if you mention that you heard about him on the Iconis podcast, he'll give you a discount. And let me just reaffirm, I should say, one thing. Doesn't matter where you're located in this world, he does it worldwide. Jason has done stuff for us, for comedians, for actors, for wrestlers. It's worldwide. And if you want to catch what Jay looks like, as he's a mystery man, go back to season 1 in our episodes and see when we did one on Vince McMahon. Jay was sitting in as a guest with Dave Sokolowski. A lot of fun. Check it out. You'll see the mystery man there, a big supporter of the show. And Jay, we thank you very, very, very much.
very much. Yeah.
All right. And of course, quick round of applause for everyone listening to the show, supporting it, watching it. We thank you so much for all that support, and we can't express that enough. And we're going to keep on going. And for all those who have subscribed to our channel, our YouTube page, thank you. And our Podbean page, thank you. If you haven't, don't be shy, do it. And please, take 2 minutes and go over to the community tab on our YouTube channel. See some polls, pictures we have posting. We're posting more there all the time, and I want it to be more interactive than it is. So, take a peek there and see what we got going on. We've got these videos, and I've done some unboxing videos. Let me know what you think. I've had fun with the Manilian Falcon, Manilium. Manilium. Thank you, Manilium Falcon. I can never say it. I want to fly, but I can't say it. And that video was a lot of fun with a couple of more others after that. So looking for that feedback. And it brings us to today's topic. What I see in the title. So who's the icon today? Well, very simple. The icon is family.
We're doing our own version of Toretto. It's all about family. It's about the family.
That's right. So the icon is family. Not F is for family, even though that show was funny. I love Bill Burr. But family. Now, when we say families, what are we talking about families? Well, we're not talking about a character per se and fan casting that we normally do. We're gonna do what I'm calling pitch. I'm pitching it back. Pitching it back to you, DC. Yeah. Pitching it back. DC, you're always looking for ideas to do new books. And you're always trying to come up with the next big thing. Hold up. Let's take a step back. You can learn from mistakes in the past. You can also learn from your success in the past. And what I mean by this is there was 3 books or 3 titles done by DC that I really enjoyed. Back what we call the golden age, right? Or golden age rounds. But go back in the 70s. There's 3 books that were done. One was called Superman Family. Another one was called Batman Family, and the last one was Tarzan Family. And the concept of these books were they charged a little bit more for the books. The books were 100 pages as opposed to your 28-page book at the time. And the book cost 60 cents as opposed to what comics were being charged back then, like 25 cents or so forth, or 15 to 25 cents. So let's break it down. What we'd have is everyone knows Batman, everyone knows Superman, and everyone's very familiar with Tarzan. So what consists of these books as family? Well, any associated character, supporting cast member would have short stories in these books. So they started off as maybe doing reprints in the book for a couple of issues, and then they started doing new stories that were intertwined that still have ramifications to today. So instead of trying to make a book now about Lois Lane and then make another series about Jimmy Olsen and make another series, Superboy and one on Bilbo, who's a sailor there from Superman books, and one on Steel, and maybe, just maybe, let's go back to the old ways. Bring back Superman Family, bring back Batman Family. Right? Batman Family, straightforward. You figure who could be in there. We'll talk a little bit more on that. And then Tarzan Family. Tarzan Family had Arok, son of Tarzan, or Gorak, son of Tarzan. Don Carter, Warlord of Mars, was in that family book. So it had Tarzan, it had Jane, and they all had their own individual stories. Now, would they be big enough characters that carry on their own series ongoing, maybe past 12 issues? I don't know. But if you put them together in a package, put a main character on there and a supporting cast, and then give stories like short stories, and they kind of intertwine at moments, and then their own individual adventures, you still get that more richness. And the pitch is you give new writers and artists a chance to work on these things, because they had multiple of writers, plot, pencilers, inkers working on these stories over the years to carry on these series. And I think they stood the test of time. Some might be dated, but it can be brought back. What do you think about that, Rod?
So, you know what? the concept is great in the sense that, because again, this was all started back in 1975. So 1975, they'd had the, like you said, they had the Superman family, they had the Batman family, had the Tarzan family. Each one kind of like, the Batman family was like till 1978. Tarzan family is to 76. And as we said, for Superman one, it was till, uh,
74,
74
I
to
think.
84, 82. Yeah,
Yeah,
74 to
yeah.
1982. So Superman family one, again, the popularity of Superman, it was a longer run than the others. But the great thing about it, again, it was a combination of all the different characters, all the small little strips that they had before they put it together. But they basically had the glue of having the story blend into each other. To me, it was a great idea because we're now so accustomed to individual, you know, books.
Yes.
You have some storylines that are kind of compressed together, but it's not as it was before. So I agree with you, Barry, that basically having the ability to say, let's go back. Let's go back to the drawing books and let's just start, that whole concept worked great then. And the reason why I wanted to give the year to show how long the longevity, the idea wasn't like, it wasn't like a couple of episodes, a couple of issues for like 2 or 3 months and it kind of like faded out.
Yeah.
Each of them did at least 3 to 4 years. Superman one was the one that was doing the longest. And that one was, like I said, practically pulled off an 8 year run on that one. So
Yeah.
that was then mid 1970s. I wonder what could happen right now. I'm just saying.
Exactly. Because since then to now, since those books were canceled, to now they've been more characters that have been added onto each of those families. So let's start
100%.
with Superman for half a second, right? So Superman
Mm-hmm.
family started off. So at first, Superman family started off, I think, in issue 183 or no, 184, something like that. Forgive my memory. But it started off first as Jimmy Olsen. So Jimmy Olsen had his own ongoing series and that's Jimmy Olsen, Superman's best friend, Superman's best pal. And that's how he started. So he had his ongoing series, his adventures, and some of his adventures had him working with Superman against Superman. He was with a Legion of Superheroes at one time from the future. This plastic ladder, something like that. He drank some formula, was able to stretch like Mr. Fantastic. So it went on that way. He had his own series of adventures ongoing. And it was like a detective kind of thing. So he was that spunky guy. So Bucky Barnes with a camera, but no initial superpowers. And he went forward that way. And even Marvel tried to do their own version of Spider-Man Family one time. That's the other book. And Marvel kind of
Mm-hmm.
copied that. But they really kicked it off. So with Superman Family, obviously you would get a short story with Superman in it. And then the regular people that would be in that would be Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, and Supergirl. And then once in a while they would throw a mix in of other characters. So those are your bases. And I'm like, okay, that's straightforward. And then they would brought in Nightwing and Flamebird. Now hold up. I know you're saying Nightwing, Barry? You mean Dick Grayson? I mentioned it before and I'll say this again.
Mm.
There was a story about the Bottle City of Kandor. And they turned around and someone inside the Bottle City of Kandor was starting, let's say, propaganda against Superman, saying, oh, Superman is not really a hero. He should have freed us by a long time ago. He's truly a villain. He's an oppressor. So Superman had haters within Kandor. And this guy was starting riots and fights and, breaking up the harmony of Kandor. So Superman went into Kandor with Jimmy Olsen. And they adopted two identities because he couldn't be Superman in there. So first of all, when he's in the Bottle City of Kandor, it's under a red sun. So first of all, Superman Kal-El loses his powers. That's one. Two, he didn't want people to know it was him. So he adopted an identity, which was Nightwing and Flamebird. Batman and Robin.
I'm just wondering.
Exactly. So Superman was Nightwing and Jimmy Olsen was Flamebird. And they went in there as two heroes because these are heroes that you heard about in legends, like how we have Greek mythology. You hear about Heracles or Hercules, however you want to look at it.
Mhm.
that was Kandor. And they said, well, we're going to adopt these identities and bring them back. And he used that to prove that he was innocent and he wasn't the person that the other person was making him out to be. Like who Superman was like, no, I'm not a villain. This I'm really trying. But those were the identities that he adopted. Now, when he left the bottle city of Kandor, there was two other scientists in Kandor that looked not like Kal-El and Jimmy Olsen, who adopted, and they were related. So it was Nightwing, and he took his niece's husband as Flamebird, and they would go around stopping crime in in the bottle city of Kandor. So when Dick Grayson had a falling out with Bruce Wayne, he didn't want to be Robin no more. And it shows in the flashback, he's there saying, hey, he talks to Superman. Keep in mind, he's one of the few heroes that talks to Superman a lot because Superman, Batman, of course, they intertwined a lot, even outside of the Justice League. They had a conversation. He's like, and Superman used to tell him tales of the Bottle City of Kandor and Kryptonian lore. And he mentioned Nightwing and Flamebird. And when Grayson said, hey, I had a falling out with Bruce, I want to be my own man. Clark, is it okay if I use the name Nightwing? And Superman was like, first of all, wonder that you want to do it. Second of all, wouldn't that upset Bruce? And Dick was, yep. And Clark smiled. He goes, okay, no problem.
Insert evil
So
laugh
no, every
here.
time that Bruce has to say or Batman has to say Nightwing, it's like Nightwing, Superman. Dang it. But that's where we get these stories. Yeah, that's where we get. So we would get the Nightwing and Flamebird stories in the Superman family.
Mhm.
All right, let's modernize it now. Let's come to today with all the characters that are in there. Can they do another Superman family? Yep. Who would you want to see, Rod, in a Superman family? We obviously know Superman's got to be in it. It's his family. So it's going to be anyone that wears the S on their chest or a supporting character.
Correct. So at this time, I mean, yeah, I think we're trying not to get to the regulars like Jimmy Olsen and Supergirl. That's scary.
Right. Huh? Uh-huh. So let me throw some things out to you, right? So we got Superman. We can bring back Flamebird and sorry, Nightwing and Flamebird,
Oh, there you
right?
go.
Okay. You can do Superwoman because I'm not sure if she's still around or not because things have been retconned. So I know we usually do more of the older stuff. There is a Superwoman who she comes from the future, but she wears gadgets and took on the costume very similar to Superman, but hers is like blue with a white cape and a white cowl, so it hides her face. And because of the gadget she has, it gave her power of flight and invulnerability, so forth. She's from the future, so it's almost like a Booster Gold kind of thing. So you can do Superwoman, a lesser known character. I would love to see in her own adventures. Um, right? Superboy's pretty much covered. He can pop in and out. He can always have a couple of stories. You can do Crypto. You can do maybe stories at the Daily Planet. You can even do well. I mean, I know they take it away, they bring it back, they take it away, they bring it back. There's nothing wrong with doing an Earth 2 story. Nothing wrong
Okay.
with that. Nothing wrong with that. We can have Huntress. Well, not Huntress. Sorry. If for Superman, it would be so it'd be Power Girl. But I know Power
Mhm.
Girl's not on Earth 1, so we can put Power Girl in there. She's got her own series back and forth. There's multiple characters. Mon-El. There we go. Mon-El from the Justice League. Give him from Legion of Superheroes. Give him his own solo run. And then Steel. You have Steel and you have his daughter. Is it his daughter or his niece in the comic book? John
Mhm.
Henry Irons. And so she has her own costume. And that's just for starters, right?
Okay.
That's just for starters. So this is where I think it can come back because there's so many people within the Superman family, and I know there's others we missed that are more new. I mean, I've seen a couple of ones pop up. So we can get. Dude, I would even go as far as saying, oh, if we got Superman family, right? There's the multiverse. There's different versions of Superman. Let's talk about them. My
Okay.
favorite is Ultraman. the evil version of Superman,
Gotcha. Yep.
or talk about Superman from Justice Lords. Justice Lords. So from the Justice League cartoon, you had the Justice Lords, where Superman's in a black costume with a white cape and everything. That's a story to talk about.
Okay.
And ongoing, and it would be different writing on it because he's a bad guy, so you have to really find those redeeming qualities because you want to like him, but at the same time he's a little bit of a so that's just one idea, right? And then of course, same concept, Batman family. Batman family, you had Batman, you had Man Bat, you had Huntress, because they used to cover Huntress even though she was on Earth too. So it was Batman, Batgirl, and Robin. And this is what I mean. It still has implications up to now because that's where that romance between Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon started, was in the Batman family. Okay. That's where that whole so it was Batman in his own thing. Batgirl and Robin had their own stories. Huntress had her own stories. Man-Bat had his own stories. And then you throw in other characters. So you might throw in Batmite once in a while. You might throw in Manhunter once in a while. Now, if we have to expand that world, we see now there's Nightwing, there's Batwing, not the playing the character.
Right. Nightwing.
Okay.
Batwoman.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. Batwoman. Okay. And then we get into some of the secondary characters who might be interesting. So who would be who's a Bat character I would like to see? I mean, you can do Alfred. Alfred old school. I mean, Alfred has a series. Alfred, you can't show Alfred in the army.
That would
more
be,
history on the Waynes.
That would definitely be, although the story is giving you the history of Alfred, we'll definitely like to see some more. You can do more with the comic books. I mean, you can literally write up go deep into his lore very easily. So yeah, I definitely would like to see a story portraying Alfred Pennyworth and how he got from all this type of, the knowledge, what made him such a great, agent, a great, survivor, what he did. Like, how did he become under the realm of the Wayne family? There has to be something.
And I think there's a lot more characters, I mean, we talk on Commissioner Gordon, right? Mm-hmm. Batman Inc. Commissioner Gordon can have his own stories. Bullet can have his own stories. They can be short stories in there, and it can get back to some of the roots of the comics, like the true detective comics, where it was prior to Batman, detective comics dealt with detectives working a beat.
Yep.
You can bring Dick Tracy into a certain degree, like anyone who's a detective. So it could be like Batman family with anyone associated with him, and I would like to say, bring in. Sorry, I gotta fluff hit me on my mouth. Bring in maybe at least one bad guy, right? Bring in Prometheus, who was an evil version of Batman that came out during the Grant Morrison run on Justice League. It was supposed to be his evil version. There's so many characters. Keep Harley out of the book. I don't. Harley's got enough. Okay, we don't need a Harley Quinn in the Batman family. This whole thing, her going good. No, but this is where it would be for me. Now, going forward, in this day and age, you got Batman, you got Superman. What about Wonder Woman? A Wonder Woman family.
Let's explain. Let's break that one down.
So when I mentioned Wonder Woman, we got Wonder Woman.
Yep.
Right. Then we got Donna Troy.
Yep.
Okay. Then we have Wonder Girl. So not Donna Troy, the other one, Casey, who's the Wonder Girl.
One, yes. Who's a replacement of right.
Yeah. And then you have I can't remember her name, but she's a Brazilian Wonder Woman. Right? So she's more of a more recent character. And then here's the one that gets me. Fury.
Yep.
Not Nick Fury. Fury. Fury is the daughter of Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor from Earth 2. She did show up, a version of Fury did show up in Justice League Unlimited, but this is a character. Her parents are destined from what we knew as that love interest that began at the very beginning. So we can have we've never really seen any solo adventures of Fury going around. if you think about it. Steve Trevor can have his own adventures. This guy is a man of action. We always see him with Wonder Woman, but he's a man of action. He's a pilot, which has been established for many years. He's in the military. He's worked as a spy. He works as a liaison. Okay. Like, I think the best representation of him was really when the Gal Gadot version of Wonder Woman. If you look at him in first movie, he had plans. He was doing things. He believed the good fight. Sold it. Chris Pine sold it well. I think right there, that's the Wonder Woman family. You can't, and I know I'm probably missing a character from
There's
that.
Nubia.
Yes, that's it. Yes, Nubia. Come on. That character came about. They kind of pushed her and she went away. These are characters we should be seeing. Even, let's jump to the future. You can do Wonder Woman's son, which is it's either a son, or she has a son. In the future, she's supposed to have a son. Don't know who the father is. It's never been established that it's Steve Trevor, but she has a son, has her powers. Come on, wouldn't you want to see some adventures of Wonder Woman's son? Because that writing on that got to be different. He's born to one of the top heroes and warriors in the DC mythos. And the whole island is an island of women. There's no men on the island, and he's the anomaly. He's the anomaly by being a man born to Wonder Woman.
I'm here checking for that name. Keep going.
Right. So these are characters that I would want to see portrayed, and the adventures that would happen. And then there was times where they would and all these books, I said, were 80 pages. They were $1 back then. 80 cents, 64 cents to $1. That's where it went up to. But the amount would vary. But the fact that you would get Huntress adventures, so you'd see Huntress on Earth 2, and now Huntress, her storyline pre-crisis was Batman obviously was her father, Catwoman was her mother, but both of them were passed away. So her mom got killed, and the dad got killed. Batman got killed. So with her future on Earth 2, she's a Wayne. He's not the daughter of a gangster. Her parents are dead. She's carrying on. And Robin, Dick Grayson, is still Robin. He just changed his costume, but he never took on the mantle of Batman. So that Dick Grayson shows up with Huntress at times because he's always been the adoptive brother. He's older than her, but he was adopted by Bruce Wayne at the time. And then, of course, by Selina Kyle. Then Helena Wayne was born. There's so many stories that are left on the table that we miss because everyone's always trying to ship the two together and hope that Batman and Catwoman are going to get together, and they never do. Talia, right? Like, Talia is another person to have her own stories, especially now that she's a mother of Damian. You're trying to tell me, come on, the writing that was right there on the wall that she's got to go between her dad, Ra's al Ghul, and Bruce Wayne and walk that line of what happens. That there is all Batman family. So I'm getting off track. So let's go back to Wonder Woman. So we got Wonder Woman. These are some of the family members I would see for her in her own book. And I think DC should do a whole special. And I'm not saying it's got to be a monthly thing, but maybe once every 3 months. So once a quarter. There we go. Yeah. 4 books a year for each series. So this way it's not too much, but keep it going and keep it canon. Don't make it like what ifs all the time. It's not an Elseworlds thing I'm looking at here. I'm looking at true stories that are still going to be impactful to these characters going forward. And you see how they kind of get grouped together. Everyone's done it. So I just said there's the Batman family, there's a Wonder Woman family, and then and DC does that more so than Marvel by creating these bubbles of the family. I mean, of course, the most obvious one is the Shazam family. But that one goes without even having them to have a Shazam family book because all of them are in the Marvel's book. So that just goes without saying. It gets in their, status quo.
By default.
But
yep.
Yeah. But another one I want to see is, here we go. I want to pitch Aquaman family. Now, I know it might seem weird that we keep doing this, but Aquaman family is another one. Come on. You got Arthur Curry. So you got him. Then you got his wife, Mira. Now, if you know her story, even though she married him, divorced him, they had their ups and downs, she came from another undersea dimension over to our world to kill Aquaman. then ended up kind of seeing him, respecting him, falling in love with him, marrying him, having his kid. Their kid gets killed off by Black Manta, responsible for orchestrating that. And then they get divorced, and then she becomes queen, and then they exile Arthur, and that goes back and forth. So Mira's got enough. She's got the powers. She's got enough story to carry her own stories outside of him, outside of her being queen. She's just more than being a queen. If the woman was trained as an assassin.
Right.
Okay. And then, there's a story where, her dad shows up and her sisters show up saying, hey, you never came back home. And it's like, So, you got Aquaman, you got Mira, Tempest, who used to be Aqualad. Granted, the only time we hear about him is if he's in Teen Titans. Or Titans. We don't hear anything. Well, he doesn't have his own book, but he would benefit from having stories in the Aquaman family ongoing series, his own short stories. So that's 3 characters right there. You put in the new Aqualad, which is the son of Black Manta, his worst enemy. Wow. Okay. And if you want to throw in a what if Arthur Curry Jr. survived? There's your Elseworlds tale. There's your what if tale. There's maybe your Earth 2 tale. Maybe in another universe he survives and goes on, and they can bring him over as a crossover. That's once again that works itself, because Aquaman is not really represented in Earth 2. So you got there's so many things they've already grouped together, and I think they're just missing out on certain things. Like if we look at Batman, sorry, I'm jumping back and forth. Batman family, bring in the Question.
Bring the Question, yeah. Bring a elongated man. Bring him in as well, at least as a detective aspect of it, and just
yes,
pairing out 2 different minds on the same goal, but you're looking at from 2 different perspectives how to solve a case.
Right. Because it's all spider webs, right? You're spider webbing the whole thing. You're taking who's the main character and how do they influence the people and people around them, their supporting cast around them. Like, Batman has Vicky Vale. We don't hear enough about Vicky Vale. We know all about Lois Lane. Don't really hear much about Vicky Vale. Come on now. Vicky Vale can carry her own.
True. All right.
She's got her own thing there within Gotham. You could throw in a couple of villains here and there. Not, give me someone new. See if they have any redeeming qualities. Okay. And this ball goes rolling. So this is what I'm pitching here. I know, for example, as I said, Wonder Woman family, I love to see. Aquaman family, I love to see. Hawkman, there's not enough supporting characters for me. And I love Hawkman. Don't take this the wrong way. But I don't think there's enough supporting characters for a Hawkman, Hawkgirl family. So that would not work. Okay. We'd have to move on from there. Green Arrow. Okay. Enough said. That's Oliver. So that's Oliver Green Arrow. That's Black Canary. That's Speedy or Arsenal. Right. So it's Arsenal. Then it's the new Speedy. Then it's, Oliver's son, who also goes by the moniker of Green Arrow.
Right.
Then there's Shadow.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a lot.
There's potential.
There's potential. There's potential. I think if you do that on the main one, some don't make sense. Some definitely make sense. One, I was trying to play around in my head. Green Lantern. Can we do a Green Lantern family? Well, let me say,
I was thinking along that line. It's already there. Well, the scenario, the Green Lantern Corps is basically the family. So my mind was thinking it's all on the same line, but we already have a Green Lantern family.
Yeah, we do.
In that set. So that is really one of the. If you look at it, if you stand back and look at it, that's really one of the original families that have already been delved into already by DC, by giving the Corps, giving Hal, Guy, Kyle, John, Kilowog. Listen, after me saying this is already to show you how much we know of that Green Lantern family is already known to us. So there's already a lot of stuff, meat on the bone for Green Lantern family.
Yep.
But we already have that. I think we already have that. So yeah, that one could, per se, doesn't have to be retouched too quick type of scenario. We already got enough information on that one.
Right. No, exactly. And, okay, Flash, same thing. Flash, Flash is pretty much, his book is written that way, right? So that's like Barry Allen, Wally West. Depends which Wally West, Wallace West. They got the 2 Flashes now together. Bart Allen,
Garrett.
Jay Garrett, Max Mercury.
Right.
Johnny Quick, Jesse Quick,
Jesse. Yep.
yeah, even Liberty Bell, right? Because she marries
Yeah.
Jesse Quick. Sorry, she marries Johnny Quick, and they have Jesse Quick. So Liberty Bell, right? That's someone else that can come in there too. Um, and I'm just going through a bunch of heroes now. One though you got to do for me, for myself, I would say give me a villain, right? You can't do Deathstroke because Deathstroke's book is about family already, where you see Deathstroke,
Hmm.
Ravager, his wife, his ex-wife, I should say, Adelaide. So yeah, he couldn't Deathstroke the Terminator, even though he's my favorite character. He already has like a family orientated book. It's already within his book. You don't need to do something separate that way. And I'm looking at some of the other DC heroes, like who would fit into this family thing. This is what I'm really trying to pitch. The show that if DC went this way, they would actually, they can do something really great. Like here's one I'm gonna throw on a whim.
Hmm.
So Green Lantern, but not any of the typical Green Lanterns. I'm talking the Green Lantern from Earth 2,
Scott.
Scott. So Scott, he has a son and daughter. His son is Obsidian, and his daughter is Jade. Those are his two kids. That
Right.
is a true family unit. So your father with two superhero kids, it's Scott, two kids. All right, let's bring in his best friend, which his best friend was the Atom, not Ray Palmer Atom, but it was he used to I can't remember his name, but he wore a mask, a blue mask, and he had a cape. And he was short, but that Atom. So bring that in. That could be a version of Scott's family, and that might be a little bit more of a stretch on the limb. Those are stories characters I want to see together doing
Hmm.
something. And I think they can do a whole family thing. Like I know it sounds so cheesy, but a whole family thing instead of doing maybe a crisis book, have these family books come across and see how they intertwine on a daily day in Gotham. And with new writers on there, new artists on there, we would get some interesting storylines that it might not be a story that can be told in 28 pages,
Right.
but 4 or 6 pages. Okay, you can do something.
Hmm.
8 pages, yeah, you can do something. We're not looking to revolutionize the character. We're just getting in more insight into the characters.
Well, here's the thing that as you're saying this, and I thought of this flashback earlier in the show, and I'm kind of coming back to it right now.
Mhm.
There really is no, or just please correct me wrong, anybody definitely, or I don't see it. There are really no detective type of family books in the sense of short stories. I don't really think there's no more. They don't make short story ones anymore.
Mhm.
So this is an example. I'm just thinking that if it's kind of you think it's kind of hard to create a story that can last 28 pages, okay, give me a story that gives me about 10 pages. But every quarter it's a continuation. Give me time to build off of that. But we're trying to recreate the original medium that was individual stories altogether.
Absolutely.
It's not a
Because
bad
then
idea.
you can bring in characters like the Question.
There
You
you
can
go.
bring in um
There,
other, like I said, you can do the Question, you can do Dick Tracy, you can do the Human Target and Nemesis, right? Or
right.
balancing the scales. But yeah, the Human Target, that's a character that has been overlooked for the longest time. He had his own book for years. He even had his own TV series that people
This is
forget.
where my mind was. This was my mind was just realizing. I don't remember. We may have spoken about this offline
Yes.
years ago. I don't
Yes.
know if we did this online, but as you're saying the target, that's why I'm like thinking, did we actually talk about this character? I don't know. We may have. Maybe we talked about it
In
in one
passing,
of our
we
early days
never
in
focused on
passing.
him, but in passing, we've spoken about him. And offline, we've spoken about him. But these are characters that I turn around, and that's my whole pitch. My whole pitch is really bring back these books, bring in some new blood. There's people out there in the industry, and instead of trying to create a new line for a ongoing series for this person and that person, let's not reinvent the
Mm-hmm.
wheel. Let's just get back down to the basics of what comics are supposed to be, what those bubbles are. I know we don't have any characters like that, any unique characters like that within the Marvel universe. You don't have like a Captain America family. You can kind of follow it real quick. Everyone thinks Captain America. You think, all right, Captain America, Bucky, Agent 13, throw in Nick Fury.
And
We're
then
good.
right, right.
You know, Tony Stark, no, he's a solo act. Even though he's on a team, he's a solo act. You don't have Iron Man and Iron Man Jr. Nothing like that. No, you don't have Ironheart that might
Well,
kind of be influenced by him.
the closest we say is Rhodey.
Yeah,
That would have been the closest Iron Man family, but then that's it.
yeah,
Oh, you know what? We go throw Pepper. We'll throw Pepper.
yeah,
But
for
then
sure, for
that's it.
sure.
But now we're now grasping at straws of having some type of connection to make the story offer. So yeah, you gotta go back. Iron Man may be by himself.
Exactly. The closest one they can do is like Spider-Man. They did a Spider-Man family, right? And Spider-Man, of course, that's Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales, Spider-Man. That hold on, Spider-Woman. Okay, and then there's the clones. There's Carnage and Venom, and well, Venom is more of an anti-hero. Carnage is still a villain. Madam Web.
Yeah,
Okay, anyone along those lines. So you got the Jessica Drew Spider-Woman, and you have the other
yeah.
Spider-Woman that took over when she came make her appearance in Secret Wars Volume 1. And she had that black and white costume, which is very similar to Peter's black and white costume when he got it in issue 8 of Secret Wars. Okay, so there you have a Spider-Man family, and then you can even do Mayday Parker. You could bring her back, which is the Marvel 2 universe where it's everyone in the future. So at this future, you have May. Sorry, you have Aunt May is finally passed away. But you got Peter Parker along with Mary Jane, and they have 2 kids. And the first kid is May, named after Peter's aunt, but her nickname is Mayday because she was playing basketball. So she always kind of be the one that does the Hail Mary. She saves the team all the time. And then she finds out she has spider powers later on and takes up the mantle of Spider Girl. So you could still, and her story ran like for years. So you can bring her back and make her a little bit older. It's okay, she's Spider Girl still, or she's Spider Woman? Because at the time she was in high school. Now we can revisit May and say, okay, well, you're grown up. And by the way, you have your younger brother, Benji, and Benji has the spider gene powers. Because in this future, Spider-Man had his last fight with Green Goblin. He lost his leg. He quit being Spider-Man, became a full police investigator or forensics scientist for the police. Still living in the same house that he had with his Aunt May, right? Gave his kids normal, but now Benji's powers are coming in. So how does that go into the family? I mean, they all went up crime fighting together. Where at one point it was Spider-Man with a robotic leg. Yeah, Mary Jane had a costume that kind of emulated their powers along with her daughter. We know Benji has the powers. So there you can do a Spider-Man family. That makes sense to me if Marvel had to go that way about it to try to come back and say, oh no, we're being outdone. But beyond that, if you look at some of the other Marvel, you can't do a Hulk family. There's no Iron Man family. You can't do a Captain America family. Thor family, yes. Between Thor, Beta Ray Bill, Thunderstrike, and then there's Thor's son from the future, which he comes up in the original Guardians of the Galaxy book, not the new one with Star-Lord, but the original Guardians of the Galaxy. You get that run. That's where he pops in. So Thor can do a Thor family for sure, which would make a lot of sense. I think that's really about it in Marvel. Hawkeye, nope. Quicksilver, nope. Inhumans, well, the Inhumans, their selling point is their family, so that goes without saying. It's like Marvel, the Shazam family, right? As soon as you say humans, we all know it's about family. But it's no one that's influenced or carried on. Like the difference with Marvel to me and DC is Marvel has their heroes come out and say, hey, I'm a hero, let me do this. And DC says, I'm a hero, let me do this. By the way, when I'm gone, I need someone to carry on for me. Who wants to be the torchbearer?
Yeah, exactly.
And they bring that person along. They train them. They work with them. And then someone else sees them. It's like, hey, I saw those 2 heroes. I saw this hero and the sidekick. I'm inspired. I want to do what they're doing because I'm a fan. And if you look at all that, that's exactly how all the family books, what ties them together for DC. Dick Grayson got picked up. Bruce Wayne trained him. All right. Then let's look at everyone else. Barbara Gordon was there and said, I like those 2. I can do what they want to do. And then that's how she fell suit. And because of her, we got everyone else. That's, the romance going there with the Bat family. Yep. Then Huntress, it was like, Mom, Dad, I knew my parents were Batman and Catwoman, and you've been killed. And all right, I'm training myself to be like that, to honor them. So just like how Bruce lost his mom and dad, in tragedy. Helena lost her parents in tragedy and carried on. Is that a tragic legacy or is that inspirational? Don't know. But there's where the whole family aspect comes in. And I think we've missed it. We've got it. We always know Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are the Trinity. Wonder Woman needs her own. There's so many Wonder Woman, Artemis. There's so many Wonder Woman influenced figures out there that they should bring this back. I would pick it up.
No, seriously, there's for the Wonder Woman family aspect of it, there is a lot. Her mother, Hippo.
I know.
Yeah, I always have fun.
We'll refer to her as the Queen.
Hippolyta.
We can't say the name. Yeah. I couldn't even say Manelian Falcon. See, I struggle with it. Okay.
But that's it. But I mean, there's enough, and again, Father's God of War. So there's enough storyline that you can pull on there as well. So there's enough on the Wonder Woman plate that she can basically build the family aspect around her.
Yeah, and talking about this, what makes me think it's like DC inspires others to follow. That's how the storylines have always been when these characters have been created, in my opinion. And Marvel hasn't really done that in the past. They're trying to do it now with Ironheart, the new Hawkeye, the girl that's taken over for the original Hawkeye. These are coming out now. But you never heard someone say, The Incredible Hulk? Yeah, that's right. Radiation, this. I'm going to go and stand in front of a microwave till I turn green. I was like, what are you doing, Bruce? I was inspired by you. Rah. No.
Right. Oh, you know what? That's a good way. I'm sure some are probably thinking the Red Hulk and all that. The only reason he stood in front is to be vindictive, is to be evil. That's the only reason why. But nothing inspiring. But you're absolutely right. There's no one inspiring. There's no one who wants to get hit by Cosmos Ray to become the next Fantastic Four. No. I'm probably going to do it myself.
Do it for selfish reasons. Like that was the UFOs. And as you said, and we talked about the UFOs, and the UFOs never fought the Fantastic Four. Go figure. Like that was easy right there. That should have been. So Marvel seems to kind of do the tragic stories. Here's a hero they're trying to do right. DC is always about, well, let me inspire and see who I can bring along with me. So if I'm gone, to carry the torch. I like Batman, and I think that's the power of how DC portrays the characters. And the power of Batman, not just Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. If you look at Batman, there's one guy, one book, it was a one-shot hardcover called Digital Batman. Takes place in the future. It's James Gordon's grandson. They know Bruce Wayne used to be Batman. James Gordon's grandson was working on the police force, and then he becomes Batman. And then there's a giant floating head of Batman, Bruce Wayne, in the algorithm. He uploaded his himself to help out, and it's almost like this is before Batman Beyond. Once again, that's a character we can bring back into stories. Digital Batman. How's your future now? Did you find a digital Wonder Woman? Sorry, did you find it? Yeah, maybe did you find a digital Wonder Woman? Did you find a digital Superman? Maybe you find the original Superman. Is there a digital Robin or Nightwing? What's your rogues gallery looking like? This is a different deviation than Batman Beyond. Once again, who's inspired by the tales of Batman? Superman, we know Superman lives to the future in one book because he disappears, he goes in the middle of the sun, and he comes back out, and he's like almost godlike. Inspiration, and people carry on. Superman 1 million. Okay, direct descendant. There's one of Superman's descendants is on the Legion of Superheroes. These are smaller characters we don't know about that you can have so much fun writing without disrupting the status quo because we don't know.
Right.
To turn around and make Clark Kent, I don't know, anything outside, make Clark Kent a killer. It's like, no, that doesn't make no sense. But if you turn around and say one of his descendants got set up a certain thing, you're like, oh, okay, I'm all on board for that.
I'll accept that. Yeah.
Thank you. Exactly. So from what we talked about here, Rod, what are your thoughts, man? What are you saying, or what are you thinking out of this whole family aspect? And maybe what book would you want to pick up under the family title if you had to pick one?
If I had to pick one, yeah, that's a tough one because you brought up a good point with Aquaman. At least if we bring up that family, but I think I would actually for today's medium, I would
Mhm.
actually do Superman because we already have an understanding of the Batman mythos. Yes, I would want to see a Wonder Woman one as
Right.
well, but I'll be between Superman and Wonder Woman. But I think I would just go with Superman
Okay.
because the lore that he has there, it can now we're now building basically creating the how do I say this? Batman, we already know who the characters are individually and together
Yes.
as a unit.
Yes.
Wonder Woman,
Okay.
we don't know her we know of some of her characters. We're saying names, whatever the case is, but really and truly, if you were to say their name without saying Wonder Woman for make someone mentally make a click together,
Right.
I'm not sure who it is. It might take an extra second. Superman, we can say names individually, everybody knows them, but we have no real storyline where the mythos is connected together. What's the common gel? We know it's Superman. Why is it the common gel? Can they actually have their own type of adventures and so forth without Superman being there? So again, it kind of replays or start back to the original format, the original medium of having the super family friend, the digital comics, the detective, comics type of, the short stories.
Right.
Why can't we do that and build from there and give us some life that, if you do this every quarter, give this for, another 2 to 3 years. Now you're looking at by that time, like 12 or 16 issues at that time. You've built enough tangibility that basically something can create from there. So then when you start saying, okay, I want more stories off of it, people will now be accustomed to the super family
Right.
and build off of there. And during that time, you could definitely work on building that. If attraction is catching the ground and going, okay, let's start working on the Wonder Woman family. Let's start working on the Aquaman family. Let's go back and revisit and come from a different perspective of the Batman family. Because by that time, we already know the Batman family already. But these are ones that we just need to continue build off, doing basically the same way. If you want to say like the Marvel universe, you started with each individual one, and you got them
Right.
to know each other, and then we brought them all together. We'll just do this together now with this aspect of it, and don't force feed it. Just basically let it grow organically, short little clips, bop, bop, bop,
We're good.
and then we can start seeing. We can see a story. We see a storyline, basically slating it as the Superman family adventures, giving those particular words adventures. Okay, we're doing something that's still in canon. There's something that happened. Like, what could happen? All these madness is happening. People are trying to take over the world, and they're just robbing, doing crimes on the weekends. What happened Tuesday afternoon? What did Jimmy and Superman do on a Tuesday afternoon? Maybe they want a small little adventure. Who knows? Let's find out. Tuesday
See,
afternoon
that's what
adventure.
exactly. Okay, so you got it. We're in the same space when it comes to that, and
Yeah.
and I'll throw in two more things here from my point of view before we get close to wrapping up. So one, if we had to turn around and do one, and I know Marvel's gonna not Marvel, sorry, DC's always gonna want to do something like this, so, and this is probably gonna maybe speak more to them. So if we have all these families, at one point you got to bring out the bad guys, and if there's only one family that's bad guy family, that's the Joker, right? You got to do a Joker family, and we already know that's Joker, that's Harley, that's Punchline. Those are the three
Mm.
main ones, and we got to throw in maybe the Laughing Batman, which is once again Batman. Okay, so Laughing Batman. We throw in one more. We can get Joker from Batman Beyond, and swap between the main Joker and one of those Jokers, or really do storylines with the three Jokers because it's been
I thought that's
established
where
that
you're
there's
going. I thought that's where you were going. I thought exactly that's where you're going. Makes sense. Why not?
yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, it's there. It's like, okay, this is Joker number one. Here's some of his stories. Here's Joker number two. Here's some of his stories. Here's Joker number three. And then you can really write through the differences of the character's mentality. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Look, show Joker interacting with some of his own family that he's created.
Mm.
And if you want to go and have a redeeming quality in that, here's a side piece. It's either you can do it in one or two books. You bring in the Creeper, and depending what origin you're going with, you can put Creeper in the Batman family,
Mm-hmm.
or you can put Creeper in the Joker family.
Joker family. Yeah.
Right? If you got that much bad in the Joker book, you need some kind of guy. It's going to be a hero. So if we're going with the storyline of how they brought in the Creeper within Batman the Animated Series, where there was a poison gas that got him from the Joker, and okay, that's still a Joker family, but it could be a member trying to bring down the Joker family and individual runs, and them trying to deal with fighting the Creeper or get away from the Creeper. Just like how they did Captain Comet when it was the Secret Society of Supervillains back in the day. He was a bad guy pretending. No, sorry, he was a good guy trying to stop the bad guys, and then Manhunter was a good guy pretending to be a bad guy to stop them from within. Okay, there we go. That's, and then of course you do. Of course they have to do. And here and DC, this one's easy for you. Family Crisis. Call it the crossover event.
That's it.
Family Crisis. It's Final Crisis, Last Crisis, Crisis of Infinite Earths, Family Crisis. Family Crisis crossover event. Because with family, sometimes not all family members get along. Look at the Civil War. It had brother against brother. It can have member against member from all different families. And then what happens on the other side of it? Does there a mix up in the families? Does one person go from Batman family now to, I don't know, Superman family? Does a member go to the Aquaman family or vice versa? We don't know. Family Crisis. I'm a genius. Hire us.
Yeah, let's go.
DC Family Crisis. You heard it here first on the Iconis podcast. Cool. Any last thoughts on your end, Rod, about DC is for family?
DC is the fact. Like, I'm sure if someone was to sit you down and you say that to someone, they'd be like, DC is for family? Once you break it down this way, DC is for family. It's about inspiration. Family. DC is for family. It makes sense. Listen. I'm thinking that this is a great topic that we talked about, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it and saw some points that we're trying to just bring to light and our thought process on it. I liked it because it gave me the opportunity to start talking about these characters and just take a moment to dig deep into the mythos and realize, like, oh, you know what? That really is not a bad idea. Let's talk about it. And this is what we did. I enjoyed it. It was a great knowing about the families, knowing about Batman family, seeing how it can gel, Superman family, how it can gel, the understanding that there should be a Wonder Woman family and the Aquaman family. So I found this was a good topic. Definitely a good topic.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope everyone enjoys it. And just for the fans out there thinking we're hating on the Tarzan family, okay, I'll make this real quick. So Tarzan family, you got Tarzan, you got his son, you got his daughter, you got John Carter of Mars. We can bring in, and we spoke about him before. We can bring in Warlord, right? Travis Morgan, Warlord. He can be part of that family. What? Come on now, son. Dangerous. I think the only family we're missing is a magic family. So I mean, Santana, her dad, John Constantine.
Right. Dr. Faith.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go from that angle.
Yes. See, we're wrapping up and then hit me. See, and Dr. Fate. Now, depending on the origin, that means you can bring in, we can do a Hawkman family because we Hawkman, Hawkgirl, Hawkwoman, Dr. Fate, Golden Eagle. And I know the Earth 2, Infinity Inc. has their godson. I can't remember his name. Okay. He's black, but he's got feathers and even on his head. Yeah. I'll put the picture up and the name after. Okay. Northwind is the character I was referring to, who is the godson of the Hawk, Hawkman and Hawkwoman from Infinity Inc. There we go. Northwind. So Hawkman can have a family book. Now and never out. On that note, please let us know your thoughts, who you want to see, maybe characters we forgot that you would think would fall into that family mythos for each one, or maybe there's another family group that you would like to see together. So let us know in the comments below. Remember, our community page, talk to us there. We'll answer too. We've got all our social media under Iconis Podcast. So you can find us on Instagram, Threads. Now it's X instead of Twitter, TikTok. We're all over. And keep in mind, this whole world was created by a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming.
All about family.
Let's hear it for Family Day in Ontario.
There you go.
Yeah, I know we're far from Family Day. It's not Family Day. All right. No, stop counting all our family members. Our family is too big to count.
That's exactly what I was like. I need more food.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Family barbecue. We out.
Bro.